Amber Alert. Eric Holmes, what can you say about this movie? I'm going to say the plot line right now. Quote, an ordinary rideshare becomes a high-stakes game of cat and mouse when Jack, I think that might be short for Jackie or Jacqueline, played by Hayden Panettiere, and Shane, played by Tyler James Williams, they receive an alert of a child abduction on their phones. Shane is an Uber driver or Lyft driver. He's a rideshare driver, basically. He picks up Jack on her way to some kind of meeting, and they see that Amber Alert, and they realize that that Camry in front of them might be the Camry that is holding and abducting, kidnapped a young child. And that young child obviously is in danger. So what they do is they decide to, well, after listening to the Amber Alert, they decide to track down the car and figure out if that person is really the kidnapper. Running at around, I'm thinking around 90 minutes. It's directed by Carrie Bellessa, who co-wrote the movie with Joshua Oram. What's interesting is I looked at Carrie's IMDb credits in 2012. She came out with a movie called Amber Alert. And I think that movie is the same movie as this, but maybe different plot mechanics from 12 years ago. I don't know. Interesting because same title, same plot line, obviously different actor.
Same writers.
Same writers, different actors.
I wonder if she just remade her own movie.
Maybe. Okay, the movie co-stars Kevin Dunn. Most of you know Kevin Dunn for his role in Veep. We all know Kevin Dunn. If you don't know the name Kevin Dunn, when you see him, or if you see him in Amber Alert, you're going to recognize him because he's one of the, in my opinion, one of the most recognizable faces in television and cinema. I don't know if Eric would agree with me on this, but he has a supporting.
He's one of that guys. Like you see him and like you don't know his name. It's like, oh, I've seen him in a bunch of stuff. Like
it's that guy. Yeah, very cool, interesting character actor. Kevin Dunn. He stars with Hayden Panettiere and Tyler James Williams.
He was the dad in the Michael Bay Transformers movie.
Oh, very cool. All right. Okay, cool.
There you go.
We're going to have some Transformers stuff later on in the episode with a recommendation or not from Eric Holmes. Amber Alert, Eric Holmes, your review of it.
I like this movie. And let's go over some things first. What was that movie with where they're in the call center and they remade it with Jake Gyllenhaal?
The Guilty.
The Guilty. This reminds me of The Guilty, but instead of from the perspective of the call center, it's on the road. Like you're following the people. Tyler James Williams plays Shane. He's a Uber driver. Hayden Panettiere plays Jack. Yeah. She talks him into giving her a ride, and then they get the Amber Alert. They see the thing and follow the person. And the weird thing about it, they make a big point of this in the movie, is the mom's looking for her kid. She's going to the cops, and it's like do something, put down an Amber Alert. And it's like, you got a license plate number? And she's like, no, it's black Toyota Camry. Just put it out there. And they're like, that's like one of the most popular cars, and just the lines are going to be flooded with anyone that ever comes across a black Toyota Camry, which will be everybody. I really like that part of the movie because it, like, once they put out the Amber Alert, like they had the picture, so they decided to put it up. And once they do, it really illustrates, like, sometimes tools don't do, like, if you don't use a tool in the proper way, it doesn't function properly, obviously. If you put out an Amber Alert with very broad descriptions, you're just going to tie up the phone lines and you're not going to get the information you need. So when that happened, I'm like, well, how are they going to, like, clearly these are two of the main characters. So these are clearly the two characters. At first I thought that the Uber driver was going to be, I didn't notice what car he was driving at first, but I thought, oh, is he driving a black Toyota Camry? Like, is this going to be a mistaken identity thing? Or what? Wasn't that at all. Then it became, well, how are they going to find him? And then once they find the car, how are they going to know that it's them? Like, these are just all like stuff I'm thinking of. Like, if you're writing this, how do you go from point A to point B? Because, there's got to be a lot of really great coincidences and logic leaps you got to take to get there. And they did. There's some stuff in here that I'm like, that doesn't quite make sense. But at the same time, I was still in it. I think I was talking on the chat between you and Bruce. This movie reminded me of a lot of A Quiet Place. There's so many things in A Quiet Place that, like, on paper would just bug the hell out of me. Or I just roll my eyes and go, that's stupid. Or that wouldn't happen. Or why would they put that in the movie? But I don't care. Because, like, I'm watching in the moment, even though I'm thinking those things, I'm still invested in The Quiet Place. I'm still loving it. And then once I watch it, I'm like, I'd watch that again. It's kind of similar deal with Amber Alert. There's a couple things that happen that, like, just kind of roll my eyes at. I was still in it. There's one part about 40, I think it was 48 minutes, because I looked at the time when it happened. I think it was 48 minutes into it. And I'm like, oh my God, they went there. Oh, that is so messed up.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. No, I didn't. I didn't think 1 second. No.
I should probably leave it there because yeah. But
Sure.
that part like got my heart racing. I'm like, oh my God, I cannot believe they just did that.
Right.
And then
Yeah.
stuff goes on. I would say the third act of this goes a little too silly for me.
Okay. Fair.
And it kind of lost me a little bit in the third act. But by that time, like I was so invested in how they're gonna hopefully catch the kidnapper,
Yeah.
or how the kidnapper is gonna get away, or however that's gonna play out.
Yeah. Even though it was silly, you can understand with leaps of logic or whatnot, it was still tense. You're still wondering what's going to happen, right? So I think maybe that might be the what either the shackles or the strictures of the genre that it have those thriller elements maybe. But I think overall, it's a very tasteful film, surprisingly tasteful movie, right?
I think
Eric? Well told.
I wouldn't have went with that title card at the end.
Oh, really? Okay.
That seemed a little on the nose, but I'm not angry at the movie for it.
Okay.
It's an important thing to say, important information to get out there.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like when you watch a movie that's kind of plays more as a thriller, and then you have like a real serious message at the end, it's like, I don't know, like that seems like something you would do at the end of a documentary, not
okay, that's fair.
Not a thriller.
Yeah.
I would also say that like some of the stuff the characters do are really clever. The bit with the iPod.
Right. Yeah.
I was like, that's
I had no idea.
That's just a great damn idea. Do that all the time. But then you get the information that you need, and then you back off. Because one of the stupidest thing they did was like follow him out in the middle of nowhere, like literally like basically tailgating him the whole time. I'm like, sure. I think he knows you're there. You might want to call the police or do something at this point.
There's a well done confrontation in the movie as well, where we're not going to get too much into the specifics, but it's well written and well acted. I thought it was a good confrontation.
That was an example of coincidence, almost too perfect of a coincidence, but it kind of worked.
Yeah, worked.
Because that was another scene where it's like, ooh, what's going to happen? Like, there's only one way this can happen. And then the thing happens, and I'm like, oh, okay, I get it now. It took, like, that totally makes sense. But then now how do you get back on track after that? And then they kind of pull that off pretty well, too.
I have a question regarding the ending that I'll probably ask you after we're done recording the show, as of the Amber Alert thing. But I like the ending. I thought the ending was pretty realistic. So I'm going to echo everything you said about Amber Alert. Surprisingly tasteful. I really enjoyed Hayden Panettiere and Tyler James Williams in their respective roles. It's a straight ahead thriller. Did its duty. It wasn't exploitative. It seemed. I thought it was just a really well done film. I think this is just a solid straight down the middle 3.5 star recommend. Yeah, this is one of these things is if you like this genre, it'll fulfill those needs, and it gives you a little bit of, I think I was even verging towards 4, to be honest, because there's an extra bang for your buck situation in the way things play out at the end, which I really appreciated. Eric, your final thoughts and ratings on Amber Alert.
Yeah, I think on paper, this would be like a 2-star movie, but I had such a great time. I think this is like the execution kind of elevated what was on paper somehow. And I just, as many weird filmmaking decisions and story decisions that there were, I was just in, and I really enjoyed it. I'd probably go 4 stars on this.
Oh, very good. 4 stars for Eric Holmes.
So that shows you if you can execute something. They say you can't make a good movie out of a bad script. I didn't read the script. Maybe the script's awesome and maybe it lowered it. I don't know, but I suspect that they may have polished this up a little bit and made something greater than what it could have been otherwise.
Very good. 4 stars for Amber Alert from Eric Holmes. 3.5 stars for me. Both Eric and I recommend. We both recommend Amber Alert, which will be in theaters and on demand September 27th.